Good evening, everybody. It is just about 6 p.m. and I have a couple of things prepped for you. First thing I prepped is that the notes I had. Hi, Ben. I had a very technical one planned for the evening, but I seem to have mislaid those notes. So I'm jumping forward to the one I had planned for next week that I'd put together while I was away. And I think you'll like it just as much. Hi, Matt. Hi, Ben. Good to see you on. In fact, you might like it even better. After we end recording, I will be doing some tech with you guys, and it will be MT4, MT5 installations. I was on with someone a few minutes ago, and we looked, and there is a leg of the journey missing, and I didn't tell him off at the time, but yeah, you're taking shortcuts and it ain't working. The shortcuts, lads, you have to do it the full way, as in copy into both places I show you in my videos. If you didn't and it doesn't work, well, that's because you didn't. It is what it is. Hi Dave, nice to see you on. So we're looking at the red light, green light, and the technical one I had planned, I was going to have playing in the background. What's his name? What is his name? Elton John. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And it's not that we're saying goodbye to that by any means. It's just that there's an indicator I added to something to do with the Yellow Brick Road. And that was the technical bit. Thanks, Shane. Appreciate that. I know you're taking it in good spirit then. So, a few random here then, but very relative motivational statements as an introduction, I think. And then a challenge. I have a challenge for you, and I believe it is a good one. But let's do the random motivational stuff first. If you think trading is hard, just carry on working 40 plus hours per week in a possibly unfulfilling job until retirement. It's the 40-40-40 scam. 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life to live on 40% of what you were making while you worked for the rest. And doesn't it make you go, that? Then something else. Considering that the 40-hour week is normal, is it? And trading is not normal. Trading is strange. Trading is difficult. Trading is weird. Normal is an illusion to us all. What is normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. So think on that when next you think trading is ever so difficult. Then I'm adding this one simply because I received some great and very relevant feedback about my education. So many thanks, Roosevelt, since it was you who shared that feedback. I haven't shared it with everybody yet. I usually do a post on stuff like that. But it was rather brilliant, and I am rather thankful for the feedback. And this one is this next bit is motivated by what you wrote anyway, sir. Now, you don't become a master by retaining knowledge. You become a master when you are able to effectively share and release it. Think on that for a moment whilst I endeavour to fulfill the challenge that I suggested. A challenge to all who listen, watch, or show at least a real interest here. I mean a real interest. Not the dabblers, not the giving it a goes, not the, well, I'll subscribe to YouTube and put it on in the background while I'm watching Coronation Street or Dukes of Hazzard or I don't know, whatever else. If you're really seriously invested in this, have a listen. We have proof, real valid proof, in the form of at least Matt S, who has said hello here, I believe. Matt M. No, yeah, Matt S. Matt S. Sorry, Matt, it is Matt S. But we also have Shane, don't we? We can add Shane. I don't know why I missed Shane. Shane, YouTube Shane, the guy I taught way back in 2014, and others still. All of those who followed my teachings seriously and then went on to teach, or at least, like Matt, impart their knowledge to a group of people, a group of peers, if you like, who are very well able to judge. And hold that word in your memory for a moment, because we're going to use it again shortly, I believe. I hope so anyway. I did write it, so fingers crossed. No, lost it. It's somewhere else. Never mind. Yes, the challenge then to all those who have indeed followed my teachings, they who have taught have indeed become masters themselves. Those of you who follow the Shane, who I'm speaking about on YouTube, you'll rave about how wonderful he is. Yeah, I taught him. Those of you who follow Matt in the open sessions, he's bloody brilliant, absolutely. Happy to admit it. That's on him, though. He took the lead. When I say it's on him, he takes the full credit for that. It's nothing to do with me. He picked up the ball and he ran with it. He taught. Teaching is learning. So the exercise then, create a strategy. Those of you who remember, at least anyway, the lesson 5 that I delivered, and the homework where you build a strategy from the list on that website that I showed you. An exercise for you. Create a strategy. Give it some thought. Explain it to yourself first. And then, if you're brave enough, share it. Share it with us. Share it in the groups. Do a little Loom or YouTube video of it, or some kind of video, and share it with us, and let's have a look and a review, because teaching is learning. And make sure you use that as a tagline. I'm just putting this together to see if I've explained it well, because if you can explain it well, people will understand it well. If the student hasn't learned, the teacher hasn't taught. That's the reality. I strongly believe that the experience will improve you. Please, though, remember, no sharing of any of our strategies, or indeed their major components. And I mentioned judgment a moment ago, and judging something, if you like. I found the line that I wrote. Judgment is everywhere. It is your greatest enemy and your best friend. Use it wisely. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Because when you trade, when you become a trader, people judge. People think, oh, that's rubbish. Why are you doing that? Why are you giving up a job, a really good job? Yeah, Shane's on YouTube. You know which Shane I mean, Paul. He's here in Dublin, but he was on the very first ever course that I taught, like way back in 2014. He was there on that. And I'd like to think that over the years, well, no, that's not right. It's not that I'd like to think. I am absolutely sure. Yes, that's him. That's exactly him, the Awake FX guy. Yeah, I'm happy to give him a shout out. He's a good guy. He's a good, knowledgeable, sensible, feet on the ground, real trader. I'm happy to be associated. I'm happy that he was on that first course. I'm not taking any credit for what he does now, because he teaches something completely different, which is appreciated. You've all seen it. Well, a lot of you have seen it. You sure have, Paul. And it's good. Shane is a clever lad. Shane knows his stuff. That's the reality. So I'll take a feather in the cap anyway, because he was there on my first ever course. And then, yeah, the judgment thing. People judge you when you get into trading. People judge you when you share an opinion. You could share an opinion on anything and people will judge you regardless. Oh, I like my job. Oh, I hate my job. And there will be people on both sides of the fence. Those who like the idea that you like your job, and those that hate the idea that you hate your job or like your job. I forgot which one I started with. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you can use it as an ally. You can prove them wrong, or you can have them offer you the support that you need in terms of, the judgment. Yeah, judge not lest ye be judged and all that. I don't care. I'm in a very, I think, fortunate position in that I've never really given a rat's arse what people think. It worried me what my mum and dad thought, my foster mum and dad. But initially when they were putting me off, I mentioned that you told me I should chase the money. Well, I've caught it with this. And they, all right, you know what you're doing, work away. I liked that statement. You know what you're doing, work away. And I went and did it. I also got to meet someone at my foster dad's funeral, a man named Davy Churchill, big into business and his own business and working for himself way back. Very motivational for me, he was in the early days, via my dad, of course. And I got to meet him and shake his hand and thank him. And that was nice because I think, I don't know, it's not a century, but it is certainly a very long time since I remember last seeing anyone from those days. So we've done a few motivational statements here and the challenge. Teaching is learning. It really is. And I would like you to, pick up the torch, run with it a bit, think on it a bit, apply it. You need teach nobody more impersonal than yourself. You can put up a mirror behind your laptop. You can open a Zoom thing and record it, and only you need watch it. But explain a strategy. Pick one of ours, but then it stays with you, only with you. Explain it. And if you can successfully explain it, look back upon your journal and tell me why it doesn't match what you did, if it doesn't match what you did. And if it does, then you've made pips, you've made money, and we don't really care outside of that then, do we? That's the challenge. Trade it, teach it to yourself as a first point, and then explain it. Yes, I agree. Nothing beats hearing people win and getting the goosebumps. Absolutely. That's what's held it together nicely for me, Matt. I've heard a lot of the downside stuff, and always when we dig, and I dig, it's because, well, yeah, then this happened, and I thought, yeah, no, that didn't happen. None of it happened. You reacted badly to what was going on the chart. You didn't interpret well what was going on the charts. Well, suck it up, dude. That's what happens. You got to put your big boy pants on. And there you go. Thanks, Judy. I will indeed. And yeah, there you go. There's a good one to share then. Someone I taught way back in 2014, 10 years ago now, and then some, is now a very successful trader. He works as little as I do, really. Trades pretty much the euro dollar, takes 20 or 30 pips, makes a few $1,000s a day, and that's it, he's done. Happy days. Why would you do any more? There you go. You know what I think? Brian mentioned to me earlier that there's a website or a call thing, a broker call, where they give targets and that. And I think it's a very long time since we've looked on a recording at our long range. So I'm going to include it in this session. If anyone has any, what's the word I'm looking for? Doubts or thoughts on that, saying, no, don't, then I won't. But it is my intention to next have a look at the long range forecast for the Dow, the NAS, the DAX, the FTSE, the Bitcoin, euro dollar, GB dollar, dollar yen. How's about that? Will we do that, ladies and gentlemen? What are your thoughts? Shall we? You know, in case there's something that's setting up for a really ripe, big target and we can take advantage, you know? All right, there you go. There's 1, 2, yes, 3 yeses. That'll do. Thanks, Damon. Thanks, everybody. Dow, then that's not what I meant to do. This is what I meant to do. This is our long range forecasting tool right here, right now. We've standard MACD and we've our usual EMAs on there and Bollinger Bands, the range file finder Bollinger Bands too. Nothing that we haven't shared publicly before. Now the bad news is I was getting on here thinking we might find a target, something interesting, and what we've got is a decision, and it's not fully made yet. We've got our yellow line and our white line together and price all stuck together, white weaving between pink and purple. Okay, so we're in a decision zone because we're just below a mid BB here with tweezer bottoms on the daily, so that's a good thing, with some bullish divergence to boot, with higher lows over lower lows. Okay, and over here we've got indecision. We're still not hopped, so I'd suggest we need to go and ping the pink line, pull back a bit, and then hop. I would like to see more to the upside here. It's what it looks like for me because shoulder, head, shoulder, tweezer bottoms, shoulder, head, shoulder, potential for a wedge break out there. I'd like to see more to the upside on this, and it's what it's suggesting, but it does need to break out of the range. So we need a catalyst of some kind, some news. It has been up high already. 18.5 is on the cards. Why not? Then a return, but it needs to finish its decision making process, and it hasn't. So we still must trade what we see on our intraday charts. And I did look at the charts today during the open. I was very pleasantly pipped up, rewarded with pips. That's the word. Bitcoin and Ethereum has potential of good things. Absolutely. I said that to Travis some time ago, Matt, but I did figure a pullback, and the pullback happened. We talked about it in a few sessions. I'll get to it in a minute. I'm going to do the Dow first, because we got our 40,000 first target from the Dow, and then the imminent and absolutely essential pullback from that in, if you like, two legs for an XABCM. Nice, nothing wrong with that. Now we're in decision zone again. Tweezer bottoms potentially, bullish divergence potentially, still in buy hopper mode. So we need to break this 39.2 if we're going up to that next target of mine. You all remember what it is. It's another fib number up there, but we'll see. It's got to break first, and the gap, we're faffing around the gap too, Matt. But yeah, 4 hour bullish flag, I'd say. They haven't crossed yet, so we're still technically in EMA buy mode. It's a big pullback is what it is, a very big pullback. And on our 1 and our 3 minutes, it makes absolute sense to sell the hell out of it. Meantime, we're waiting for it to do something sensible, like breach this 39.2 before we can again look for a very big 800 pips initially, and then up to the next target that I mentioned. So you'll all hopefully remember what that is. Decision zone DAX, decision zone NAS, and Dow. Then DAX we'll have a look at. No problem here, is there? Yeah, he's had his pullback, but he's very bullish, and he did catch up nicely with the NAS and indeed overtake it, which means he might help the NAS pull back up to these levels, because he's got to do an XABC before he can do an M. So we're looking for a top up here around 18,660, 650 something. And he's had his pullback, and he has broken above white, and he only tipped off of white with, as we can see, look at that and that, we've got some massive bullish divergence there. So I think there's a shoulder ahead, a potentially cockeyed shoulder, or a faff back down to white and pink before we rally on. But DAX is bullish for the moment. It needs to hop, and it might pull back first to give us a MACD scalper hopper. We'll see. FTSE's been up around the 79. He's done a similar pullback, not as big. Shoulder, head, shoulder. I think there's an 8,000 on the cards for him. It isn't far away, is it? So it's not a big prediction now. What we have to be aware of is shoulder, head, shoulder. Potential for a head and shoulders there. But I think 8,000 first before we get it. And there's a decision zone at 8,000, obviously, because it's a big, very big round number, and it's one of these ultimate highs for, oh no, we have been above it before, not by much. We'll have to watch what happens there in case we get some kind of weird looking teacup. We're looking at 8,050 or so. That's what we'd be looking for as a top there. And it's easy enough, the FTSE, isn't it? It goes up a bit, it goes down a bit. It's nice and slow enough for our stuff, and nothing that we need overly worry about. I don't think we're going to get any massive moves upwards from it, but we can be ready if it rejects the double tops up here for something sensible, because there's 100 and something pips on FTSE pips as well for the pullback when it happens. Now, Bitcoin, Travis mentioned to me, should he put some more finances into it? And I said, look, it's always going to go up, but there's a pullback due. That was somewhere around here. We got XABC. The W is on the go. It's above where he would have re-entered, I believe. So I think that must be the ultimate high, 74,000 thereabouts. It's got 100,000 in it. It kind of has to. It's gone way past the 60, and you all don't know about me 40s and me 60s. It's just, will it pull back massively first? Well, that would be nice, because I could take a bite of it again. I haven't had a bite since we did the 16 to 32 plus run, so I wouldn't mind another bite, but I missed my entry last time round, so I may suck it up. It's in buy territory. if you're adding to it, it's a buy and hold, it's not a trade. This thing's rocketed up as well, very nicely. Another XABC. W completes up around, what level is that? 4,000 and say 4,150, 4,200. So there's a rake of room to go in there yet. Obviously, getting in now, let's go back to that for a minute. Getting in now would be a terribly late entry. I always like to enter just above an EMA, a sensible mid BB or a sensible EMA. Yeah, we can go use the last one as a invalidation and crack on until we get somewhere, lock in and carry on. You know, that's the way we do things, isn't it? Euro dollar 108. There's a shoulder, head, shoulder. There's potential for more to the upside off him then, but we do have EMAs in the way. They're all raked together a bit, suggesting that we had headed into some kind of range territory. We breached it now, but we're not by any means in full-on buy mode, nor are we there. But there looks to be more to the upside, perhaps to this R3 before we can have another pullback. If we breach R3, there's a 109, and then there's double tops over here. We're in a decision mode here on the daily. It will do, Jamil. Yep. Jamil's gold's just rocketed though, hasn't it? So if you were getting into it, it's late. If you're in it, lock in. Yellow's crossed above white. Yellow hasn't crossed above white. So we need to see that move up and yellow to cross if we're maintaining this bit of a rally here. I imagine GBP will be similar then. Yeah, yellow's not above, yellow is going above. We need to see the PSAR flip. It's not far away. Look, 126.53, 126.63, 10 pips away, and we flip the PSAR. It will be outside Bollinger Bands down here if we flip it, and then we've got a chance to run, and we could take a shoulder, head, shoulder, and a run up as high as this sort of 128 level. So from 126.50, there's potentially 150 pips in that, but you are waiting for a double PSAR flip, and you do need yellow to go above white. So finger on button until then. It's not a set and forget. That's the reality. Look, it's only 9 pips away now. It's doable. Perhaps needs a bit of a catalyst to do it. This delivered our 153 down to the 140, but he's faffing here now. Look, he does tend to want to falter. There is some bearish divergence there, but the same rules apply. He's got to come all the way down to this sort of 150.25 level to be able to proper flip the PSAR and die. It won't be outside bands by any means, even if it does flip there. But if it flips on the 4 hour, no, it still won't be outside, and it's got a long way to go for that. I think what we're looking at is a bit of a range bound UJ. Apart from, you see that spike, obviously news. That spike, I'd say there was a newsy thing going on there. I don't have it to hand, but that would be my bet, news. So as always, trade what you see. Yellow above white. It's ideally long here, but caught in a range. Draw the channels, see what the upper level is, and you know, when you get to that, get ready to take the pips or lock in. There you go, 151.93 seems to be a sensible upper range. It's 13 pips away, but they're UJ pips, and them's good pips. That's the reality. Gold then for Jamil, it's way up at 23.30 there. Did you change? There you go. So if you wanted to get in, you're a bit late. That's it. You're an inside bar here with only 2 hours left on it. Or 2.5 hours left on it. A breach of the inside bar on the next bar would give us an H pattern. Look, let's zoom. So if he can hover and stay, what we're looking for, outside, inside, outside, an H pattern, a breach to the upper side, and you can what's the word? Evil twin that fib there. So instead of going from there down to there to see where it's going down, you go from there to there. If you're able to go long, it's up there at 23.39-ish, you see? And then you've got all these targets up there. But you need the white line to be breached. That's the evil twin fib drawn straight away. And if we just flip it on its head right away to see where you get anything like a continuation, there's your fib. And you pull back to, oops, we breached. That's close enough. A pull back to white, pink, Rejection of red offers you a continuation below this 123.33 for the downside, but that don't look like no downside to me. That looks like we are, bullish, and it's no doubt all the warmongering and all those what's the word, naysayers who think, oh, money's not going to be worth anything, stocks are not going to be worth anything. And people don't realize that a lot of wars are indeed for the sake of the economy, because you blow shit all up and then you got to rebuild the shit, and some fool's got to rebuild it, and this company will win that contract and that company will win this contract, and that's how the cookie crumbles. It's a big industry war. It really is, because these guys make bombs and they sell them. This Egypt drops them and blows places up, and then some fool comes along and rebuilds the places and makes themselves a lot of money. It's what happens. There you go. So there you go, that's the long range forecasting complete. I'll end the recording now, everybody, with a trade safe, and see you on the next live one. I'll upload it as soon as I can, and then we have some tech questions, I believe. But there you go,